Thanks so much for joining me. If you are here, you are here to talk all about everyday miracles. So I know that this might sound a bit of a departure if you've been following me regularly, but today I really felt called and compelled to share what I think is an amazing story. I've been sharing it in a few couple of places just with close friends, and they urged me to actually share this publicly. So I wanted to share it here with you first. If you're brand new to me, my name is Susan McVeigh. I'm a business sales strategist, and I help business owners, entrepreneurs just like you, sell with more ease, without the sleaze, so that you can make money and impact while living your life of freedom and flexibility. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that you can double your profits without having to double your work. So today is a bit of a departure in terms of not being directly related to sales or marketing or any of the stuff that I normally and typically talk about here on my live show. But as always, I always say it's a dash of life kind of thrown in, and this is life. So everyday miracles. Now, I felt compelled to share this because too often, or a lot of times in the marketplace, you hear about manifesting, right? And so if you're on here live, if you're here on the replay, please feel free to let me know and say hello. But I want to hear from you. Have you heard this term manifesting? Because I'll be honest, before I came into the online space, I didn't even know what this was. Like, I didn't realize that this was a thing. And to be perfectly frank, I did not really believe in miracles. I certainly did not believe in everyday miracles. I felt like miracles were things that you saw on movies, that you heard people talking about, that there were these like miraculous things of healing, like people suddenly no longer having cancer or being able to walk, or just amazing stories. And what I've been seeing more and more often with at least the people that I've been connected to is stories of everyday miracles that if you are paying attention, if you are noticing the signs that are happening right in front of you, and if you're too busy, if you're too focused on your goals, your path, and I will admit I was like this when I was working in corporate, and I missed the signs of my everyday miracles. And now in my journey, I've been really trying to pay attention to why things are happening. I like patterns. I like puzzles. I like being able to figure out why things are happening. But at the same time, sometimes there's the unexplained, right? So I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had something happen in your life that's completely unexplainable? Like maybe you say it's a coincidence, like you randomly meet somebody and then all of a sudden they connect you to somebody that is like life-changing for you. Or maybe it's a story of how you met your spouse or your partner or your best friend or somebody who has become like instrumental in your business success. Or maybe it's just something that happened that gave you such joy in the moment when you were having a crummy day, and it came at the moment right when you needed it. Like, those are the miracles that I'm talking about. So they don't have to be this huge, massive events. They can be these quiet moments, but they can also be pretty big if you're paying attention. So I'll share somebody else's story because I think it helps point a picture on some of it. And then I wanted to share a little bit more about my recent experience because I think it might help one of you if you've been struggling to figure out, Vivian, if you've been struggling to really, so I'm faith-based. So for me, it's hearing the voice of God. For you, if you believe in something else, it might be your intuition, your inner guidance, your spirit, signs from the universe, whatever it is that you have faith and belief in. I want you to know that there are forces that are working. And you know me, I don't typically talk about this woo-woo stuff. But there are things beyond our control. And if we don't take the time to pay attention, we miss it in the blink of an eye. And I really want this story to be shared to encourage you to pay attention, because it's in those small moments sometimes that can be life-changing in a way that is very unexpected. So the first story that I want to share is something that a friend of mine had shared on her newsfeed. And I thought, wow, okay, more confirmation that God is present in our life. So she had returned home from a late night flight. Excuse me, glass of tea. Returning from a flight, got in late, and the place that she wanted to go and grab some food at was closed, right? She didn't realize this at the time. So she drove over to the place, and as often we do, right? So let me know if this has ever happened to you. You go to a place and you're like grumbling, you're complaining, you're like, ugh, dang, it's closed. And so you have to spend more time. You have to reroute yourself. You have to figure out a different path. And along the way, you have been so trapped in your mind that, man, I really wanted that thing. I really wanted to go to that place, or I really wanted to buy that thing, or I really needed this. And so you're so stuck in your mind with how it needs to be that you don't even think that maybe this is happening because it needs to happen this way. So my friend got to place number 1, closed, grumbled and complained. And then she went to the second place, which was open, but about a 10 to 15 minute detour out of her way. So she was annoyed. It was already a late night flight. She was trying to eat, so she was hungry, maybe hangry. I get hangry. Let me know if you do too. And so she went and rerouted, got the thing, and then sped down the highway to get back to her house. Well, lo and behold, as she's driving along, guess what she sees out the window? There's this major car accident, like a big car accident and it had literally just happened maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago. So in that moment, she realized that the thing that was so inconveniencing to her was actually an everyday miracle. Like that was her miracle moment, because that detour, the fact that that restaurant was not available, had meant that she had detoured out of her way and spent an extra 10 to 15 minutes. It had made her avoid this accident, because otherwise she would have been in the direct path of where that was the route that she needed to get home. So that was a miracle for her to avoid this car accident, or, even worse hardship, because she was able to now drive past this instead of perhaps being in it. Does that make sense? So I'm hoping I'm explaining this correctly. So I want you to think about for yourself, are you noticing these little moments for yourself? Like, do these things happen in your life? Because I firmly believe that these little incremental things, they happen constantly. And when we don't take the time to realize that, oh my gosh, like this happened for a reason, and to acknowledge it and to be grateful, we can't receive more of the same types of things, those everyday miracles that we want to see more of, that will build into bigger miracles, that will build into bigger things, that will build into, monumental occasions that are going to completely shift and transform not only our life, but ultimately our businesses, right? And so that's the first story that I wanted to share, because I think so often we kind of go through life and we complain about all this stuff without really thinking, well, maybe this is happening for a reason. And so if you caught my Monday meetup, my guest, Erica Mayer, she had shared a little bit more about like how to reframe some of this. And so, our topics are kind of related, a little bit different, but definitely I encourage you, if you are stuck and you're thinking, you're stuck in like stinking thinking and grumbling, go back and listen to the Monday meetup with Erica. I think it would be really helpful for you. Okay, Vivian says, makes total sense. You get hangry too, Eric, too, Vivian. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So I wanted to share my story that happened because I used to be the person that would go, oh, that must be a coincidence. Oh, feel like I have deja vu. So these were all things that in my past, I discounted them. I didn't really give them the weight that they needed to have. And subsequently, they didn't happen very often. It was like once in a blue moon, right? Like it just happened and I'd be like, oh, coinky dink. That's nice. And I realized that the more intentionally I focused on these everyday miracles, and the more that I allowed my faith and my beliefs to help support me in that, the more that they showed up for me, because it's like anything. It's just like I share with you about sales, right? Like putting out your offers, practicing that skill. It's like building a muscle. You have to keep doing it over and over again. And so manifesting is really about noticing the miracles that are happening and being intentional with what you are focusing on, so that you choose to see what you need to do in order to have these things happen. I hope that's making sense. So I wanted to share what happened as I've been growing my strength, because it's still something I'm developing, in noticing these everyday miracles, allowing for the magic that happens when you pay attention, but then when also you are intentional, you are directive, and you actually take action based on the information that you receive, right? So it's one thing to see and notice, but it's also another thing to actually do something about it. And that's really where that true power comes in. So I'm not about, because I am faith-based, I believe in God. It's not about just praying and then like waiting for something to fall out from heaven. It's really about taking that guidance, that inner knowing, the words from God or whoever you believe in, and being able to take that forward into your action to allow yourself to receive even more. So Vivian says, I do try to think about things like that when things don't go as planned. Awesome. And it's hard, right? And that's why we had talked to Erica on Monday about how to reframe it, because human nature being what it is, we often think about the negative. We often think about, oh, what if this, what if that? And you start to spiral into this angst and anxious type of thinking. I know I've been there, and it's still something that I struggle with as I continue to move forward in my journey. So here's what happened. There are two things that I knew that I needed to do, but I was struggling with them because they're big major things, right? I don't think you need the details, but there are two major things. So one of the things was personal. It was, something that I had been leaving off, and I'd been directed to do this. I got that like gut instinct and message from God that this is what you need to do this year. So I'd been dragging my heels. Suddenly it was like, oh, here's a perfect moment for this. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I ended up doing that. And then about, maybe 2 days later, I got notification that something was about to renew that I no longer needed. And I needed to remove myself from this, it was a membership community. So I had already decided long ago that I was going to leave. And maybe you've been there too, where you need to do something for your own good, but you're dragging your heels and you're like, oh, just one more. I'll get to that later. So that was me. It's been months. I'll get to that later. And then finally I was like, later needs to be today. I'm going to pull the plunge and just do it. So as soon as I did that, here's what happened. And so the saying that, when one door closes, another door opens, that saying is there for a reason, right? Like, I know that sometimes we feel like these old-fashioned things are just old-fashioned, but there's a reason why they developed, and it's because it was happening. And so they still happen. We just have failed to see. We have failed to pay attention because we're so busy about other things that we miss these little everyday miracles. So when that door closed and I shut it, then here's what happened. There was an event that is here. So I'm in Vancouver, I'm in Canada, and somebody tagged me in a group that I hardly ever go in. And yet I had an urge that morning to check my notifications. And lo and behold, I see my name being tagged on this post for a ticket to an event here locally in Vancouver. It's a major software company that's putting this on. It's the Unbounced conference. And I remember kind of stumbling upon it a while ago and thinking, why would little old me, why would I go to a software conference? I'm not in high tech. I'm like, this is all stuff that really feels very advanced for me, because I'm still new to the online space and learning about all of the technology that's required to run an online business. Like, my systems are very simple and straightforward. And so if this is you and you have ever felt an urge to do something, and you feel too small, maybe this is your wake-up call, because I know for me, Janet, you're on here. You tagged me. Yes. And I thank you because you blessed me so much by that, because what ended up happening is this woman just kindly gave me a ticket. It's worth about $1,000. So I closed off this community, went on my merry way, and thought, and anytime you stop something, I'm sure you get it like a bit of a pang, and you're like, did I do the right thing? Should I have done that? So here was my guidance to say, check, you're on the right path. You need to be doing something else. This is the direction that you need to go in. And sometimes we're so scared about taking that action that it makes us worry about all the other stuff. And then we lose sight of the everyday miracle. So if I had just sat there, wallowed in this, and been like, oh, I'm so sad that I've left, I would have missed Janet's tag. Okay. So Are you missing something today that somebody has meant for you to hear, to receive, to know in order for you to get to the next step that you need to be at in order to create that snowball effect for your miracles, like your miracle path to happen? So I'll be honest, when Janet tagged me, Janet, when you tagged me, I did not feel qualified to take the ticket. So if you've ever had this moment where you feel like there's a reason why I'm here, there's a reason why I'm seeing this, but I don't feel worthy, I don't feel like I'm ready, I don't feel like it's for me, I encourage you to step forward. I encourage you to take hold, because sometimes other people see for you what you can't see for yourself. And God, universe, divine, spirit, whatever you believe. So for me, God sent Janet. Janet that day said, go. This is in your backyard. Why wouldn't you go? And I thought, why wouldn't I go? Okay, great. I'm going to go and do it. So that event is happening next week. Now, I've been doing a lot of traveling, which is one of the reasons why I really hesitated to do this event. But I know that every time that I've gone someplace, it has resulted in my own personal growth, my business growth, my community growth, and being able to help more of my clients and students. So I want you to think sometimes when we're so wrapped up in our own little heads, like in our own bubble, that it's all about you. And really, as soon as you step outside and you start thinking about really and truly what you want to do. And I know that if you're here, you want to make an impact as well. You're trying to impact the people around you, your communities, your families, the world at large. If you focus on that, the everyday miracles are going to come fast and furious, because God, for me, spirit, source, divine, God, maybe for you, they're going to show up. They're going to show up, but you have to pay attention. You have to be ready to grab that opportunity and not be afraid to do so. So that was miracle number one. Miracle number two, I am reading a book. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I love to read. I could read all day long, but I also read very quickly. And so as a result, I take a lot of books from the library. I love the library. I recommend it, especially because it's free, cost of a library card. So I had taken out this book. Now, given all of that, it usually takes me like no time to read a book. This particular book has been taking me an awfully long time. I cannot read it very quickly. I need to digest it. So if you are faith-based, I highly recommend it. It's called Believe Bigger by Marshawn Evans Daniel. And it's an amazing book. And I am halfway through it. And while I was on vacation with my family, I was sitting there on the beach reading this book. And I thought, I feel like I need to share with this woman, this author, how much this book has meant to me, like how great I think this book is. I should send her an email. So here's the lesson. I did not. I thought, I can't send somebody an email when I haven't even finished the book. So if you've ever felt like, I can't do this until this, I want you to pay attention, because God might send you signs to say otherwise. So this is what happened. Janet, I know, I was so excited. Believe Bigger. Yes, absolutely. By Marshawn Evans Daniel. And you can follow her business page because she does a lot of videos as well. So I did not know this woman beforehand. Again, Everyday Miracle. Somebody had recommended it and I thought, I'll check it out. So I'm reading this book and I thought, I haven't finished it. It'd be silly. It'd be silly for me to reach out and tell her when I haven't even finished the book. At least finish the book, Susan. So I get back home. So here's miracle number 3. I get back home on the weekend. We're doing some gardening and I take Epsom salt baths, partly to relax and partly because it is therapeutic for me. So I have chronic pain. I've been diagnosed with chronic pain and chronic illness, including fibromyalgia. And so the magnesium in the salts actually really, it does something for me. So it's very helpful for me to go and sit for a bath for a long time. So typically I read in the bath. Let me know if you're a reader in the bath, because I'd love to know. And let me know if you are a reader, what do you read? What are you reading right now? Because I'm still working my way through Believe Bigger. So this time I had an urge to watch Periscope. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I started and I still have some videos on Periscope that I did, It's been like 3 years now. So before Facebook Live was even around, if you can believe. And so I was drawn to Periscope. I never watched Periscope because who's on Periscope anymore, guys? So, right? Who's on Periscope? So I was drawn to Periscope. And the very first video in my feed, when I watched it, this woman, Tiffany Montgomery, I'll give a shout out to Tiffany and I'll put links in later. So Tiffany is running a conference called Millions Conference in Dallas. And within the first 3 minutes, she said, I'm sponsoring the last 40 tickets. Here's what you need to do to grab your ticket. So this miracle number, guys, it was in Dallas. I'm in Vancouver. I was sitting in a bath. The conference is on Friday. I was sitting there and I was shaking because I didn't know what to do. And so I had faith that there was a reason why I was drawn to watch this video. There was a reason why I was hearing about this sponsored ticket. And so what did I do? So I executed miracle number 4, which was I sent in my request. She said, send me an email if you want the ticket. They're available for grab. Might not be for very long because there's only 40 of them. Sent in my ticket. So 2 hours later, so I sat down after my bath, went to go watch Avengers with my kids and my husband, have family movie night, and sat down. 2 hours later, congratulations, Susan. So that was my miracle in action. So again, miracles happen, but you need to act on them. So if I had just seen this video and been like, I would love to have a ticket and just prayed on it, it wouldn't have happened, right? So you still need to take action as you notice these miracles happening. I think that is the key to manifesting or being able to really have things happen in your life, but acknowledging that if I didn't have that opportunity to watch that Periscope, I would not have gotten the ticket. I would not have known what to do to get this ticket, to have an opportunity to go to this conference. Now, here's the connecting miracle. One of the speakers at Millions Conference is the author of Believe Bigger, Marshawn Evans Daniel. So remember I said I got this inkling that I wanted to send her an email and tell her how much this book has meant to me. Well, now I realize I'm going to this conference so that I can tell her in person. I have told so many people who have impacted my life, my business journey, my personal life, and I encourage you to do the same. Like if you have an opportunity to reach out to somebody, and I never felt like I could because I always felt like I was a small potato in a big field, and that these people were just so big, so important, and so far ahead of where I currently am that little old me, like, how am I going to help them? And in meeting a wonderful woman by the name of Kim Garst, this past February, and when I shared my story with her, that she inspired me watching her on Periscope to realize that if she can do this, if she can teach on Periscope and go after what she is an expert at, and because she's a little bit older, not a millennial, and I'm older, and I was thinking, well, wow, like how inspirational. And she inspired me to start on Periscope, to at least try, and it changed the trajectory of my entire life, like my entire world, because of that moment. And when I shared that with her and I thanked her, it created a relationship with her, and we're still connected. So every time I meet her somewhere, she remembers me, and that to me is amazing. Like that is the impact that you have on other people, even if you think that they're further ahead, or that they're more important, or that they're more connected, or that they're more influential, or whatever is the more that you have attached to that person. And that's what I want you to think about, is for yourself. You have an opportunity to create a miracle moment for them, to confirm and validate that what they're doing has been helpful to somebody else. Because let's face it, even me and you, I'm sure you put stuff out and you wonder, is this a value? Like, is this a value to you to hear some of this? Because it's something that as creators and as influencers and just as people who represent a personal brand, you always wonder, is this helpful for anybody else other than myself? Am I just talking to me? is this worthwhile for me to keep doing? And the more that you can help other people that have helped you, the more that I firmly believe like that circle just keeps continuing over and over and over again, right? And so for me, Janet, if you're still on here, like, thank you, because it was, I didn't feel ready. And by accepting that ticket, it has now snowballed into quite a number of things that happened very, very, very quickly, because I got the ticket to Dallas, the Dallas event, on like late Saturday night, and I fly out tomorrow. So I had to figure out my flight, which thankfully I was able to figure out on points. Amazing. And then a hotel room that somebody else couldn't use. Again, another, I think we're on miracle number 5 or 6 this is in the span of like less than a week that this has all happened. The hotel room was transferred under the original group rate. So instead of paying like almost double, it just happened. And again, it didn't happen because I didn't take action. You still have to take action, because you will get these urges, these nudges, these little signs. And whether it's your intuition, your gut instinct, like, just sit with it. And if you ever think, so somebody asked me once, how do I know the difference between when God is speaking to me, right? So whether that's source, divine, universe for you, your own intuition, and how will I know? How do I know for sure? So this has always worked for me. It may or may not work for you, but I do encourage you to at least sit with it and see if it does work for you, because it might be helpful. Your first instinct, for me, is always God. And then the fear kicks in, and then the logic kicks in, and then the what ifs and the questions, and like, oh, I can't go because it's going to cost too much. I won't be able to find a flight. I won't be able to get a ticket. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do that. That is all the noise that comes because of the thing that you're trying to do. And especially if it's a big thing, if it's the thing that you're meant to do on the path that is right for you. You know what I'm talking about, right? So you know that there is a path that you are meant to be on. And when you dabble in these side paths and get confused, you are going off the track that you're supposed to. The everyday miracles are designed to get you back on track, because if you don't pay attention, and I've been here, God for me, he threw a boulder at my head and it created a massive breakdown, because I failed to see the signs. I failed to see these everyday miracles, these little things that were like, so I'll share an example. I followed so I was an early adopter to Twitter. I don't use it, but I adopt technology pretty quickly and check it out, and then I kind of drop it because at the time I didn't have time. So I was on Twitter right when they first started, and I started following a business coach. I had no business following a business coach because I had no business. I was knee deep in a very established corporate career, being very successful at what I was doing in corporate as a sales leader. So there was no reason for me to ever need a business coach. We already had that structure built into our corporate environment. And yet that was the nudge. I ignored it. And so it kept showing up and showing up and showing up. And I just thought, I'm not happy. I'm just not fulfilled. Like, I just need something else. I need another job. I need a different role. I need another promotion, maybe a new location, different people, better clients, a different thing that I need. So I kept searching, but yet God was showing it to me right in front of my face. And I did not see it. I didn't see it. And so I encourage you, if this is you, like if any of this resonates with you, go with the first instinct. Don't allow fear, don't allow judgment, don't allow logic to talk you out of your decision. Go with it and start small, because sometimes like doing the really big thing. So as an example, maybe you get an urge that you need to move across the country. Because I have an urge right now that we need to move. And I've been sitting on this for a while, and we're getting closer and closer. but moving a whole house with a whole household and kids in school, like that's a big thing. And so you may have had something similar to this, like it's a big monumental thing and you're thinking, oh, I can't do that. So think about something where your gut or God, source, universe, divine has given you a small thing, a small thing. Hello, Monica. It's giving you a small thing, right? Go with your gut. Because the more, it's just like anything, right? I said you have to practice and practice and practice. It's strengthening that muscle. It's giving yourself faith and belief. And let's face it, the more that you can steward the gifts that have been given to you, and these miracles are gifts, the more God for me, source, divine, universe, or God for you, is going to keep giving you more. Because if you don't believe, if you can't take action on what it is that you're required to do, it's very hard to give you the bigger things, right? So I always use this example because my background is banking and finance. If you cannot manage pennies, getting thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions is going to be that much harder, right? So you have to demonstrate that you can be responsible and take care of the pennies. So those are the small things in order to build up to the big things. And it doesn't have to take very much time. It can go like that. That is how quickly God works. And you need to have the faith and belief in yourself and be able to practice in order to get better. And so that's why I wanted to share this today, is to help you if you have felt a lack of faith, a lack of belief, a lack of trust in yourself, that you are not seeing what needs to happen in your life, that everything seems to be going wrong, because I was there too. Like that's right before I had my breakdown. Nobody was helping me. I had all this work to be done and nobody seemed to care. Nobody seemed to be listening to me. And I felt like I was just like shouting into a void, and things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it's because I failed to see the signs of these small little miracles that were happening, where God was throwing me a life raft, but I was too scared to take the leap. I did not believe in myself. I didn't have the confidence to know that that was the right thing to do, because it was so scary at the time for me to even consider. And so guess what happens? As most things happen, if the longer you keep doing stuff that's not meant for you, the path that you are meant to be on, and you know in your heart of hearts, if you're on here and you're struggling with this, then chances are you know deep down what I'm talking about. It's like, how do I describe this? It's like a deep longing. It's like putting a puzzle piece in the wrong hole, and it kind of fits, but there's gaps around it. So it's okay for now, but you know when you find the right piece that it's got to go. That might be where you are right now. And I encourage you, the longer you sit on it, the worse it's going to feel. And it may lead to a breakdown. So go back and watch last week's, because I talked about my breakdown and the lessons that I've learned. I don't want anybody to go through that. But you may need to, because I know I needed to in order to learn the true lessons that I needed to see, because that's what was required of me for my own experience. And that may be for you. I hope that doesn't happen, but I know that for me, it needed to happen. It needed to happen in that way. So, okay, let me just check up on comments here. I can't do this until this. Yes. So Vivian, you can relate. Put the author's name in the comment too. Yes, I will. Absolutely. Janet Lynchpin. I love it. Is it good? I love Seth Godin. I've only read a few of his books. He has a very distinctive way of writing, but I'm always looking for new books. So would love to hear if you've loved it. You better go up and introduce yourself. Vivian, I am still nervous. I know that God will present an opportunity for me to be able to share my story with her and to be able to say thank you in person. And again, this is where I want you guys to know I will be paying attention, because I'm anticipating that miracle to already happen. I have faith and belief that with all of these things that have been lined up, that there is no possible way for me to go to this event and not see her and not meet her. And that means for me that if there comes a time in this event where I don't see an opening, you better believe I am going to create one. So this is again where miracle plus action makes like happen, right? And so this is where you cannot just wait at the sidelines and think that prayer, manifestation, like affirmations, all of that it's not enough. You have to take action. And if you pay attention, you will usually be given guidance on exactly what to do. So again, that gut instinct is going to fire up and say, go and do it. So here's the example I'll give you. When I went to Marketing Impact Academy in February, Sean Cannell was standing like 100 feet away from me, getting his lunch. And I really related to the story that he had shared on the stage. But again, I felt nervous. I didn't want to bother him. I thought, who am I to share this with him? And at the time I was reading Mel Robbins' 5-Second Rule book. So if you haven't read that, I do recommend that, or just watch her TED Talk because it's basically the gist of it. So I did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And because I got that instinct in myself, just go and say hello. He's standing right there. When will you get an opportunity again? Just go and do it. So I did. And so that's where that action comes in, but it was guided by, the hand of God, intuition, like that nudge forward of go and do it. So here, my second instinct, the logic was all of but if I'm bothering him, what am I going to say? Like if I had stayed trapped in that, I would never have met him. I would never have had an opportunity. I think I shared a picture here on my page or share my story. And so again, I've met him a couple times now. He remembers me, which I think is amazing. Like that just is a testament to him and the quality of character that he is. And I know that I was able to impact his life by sharing how he impacted mine. And that's what I want to encourage you as well. Love the snowball effect. Yes. Oh, Janet, you volunteered for next year? Yay. I might go again. I have to see because it's right in spring break for my kiddos. And I try to really honor my family time. There's not tons of it. So I really do try as much as I can. So we'll see if that'll tie into, maybe a family vacation to San Diego. We'll see. When I'm work focused, I'm like all in. So it's kind of hard for me to straddle the two worlds. So Vivian says, I love it when one miracle takes you down a path. I can't wait to see what the ending is to the story. Yes. So if you're in Sales Mastery Society, I will be giving a lot more detail behind the scenes, probably sharing as I go through, especially as I'm at the event to do some Facebook Lives and some like impromptu stuff over in my community. So Vivian's in there. If you're interested, come on over and join us in there. What else? Ramonica. Yay. Is it Alexandra? Oh, okay. You are, I don't know how to block you. That's not that kind of thing. Sorry. Thanks. Hello, Erica. Thanks for sharing. And I'm just about to hop off. So if you're on the replay, if you hopped in late, go back to the beginning because I think the impact of this story is really what I wanted to impart on all of you that have come to join me live or on the replay and you're listening to this story because this has been a long one. Here's the thing. Regardless of what you believe or don't believe in, I know I have proof. I have proof with this story that there are everyday miracles happening all around you and I. And for me in particular, this has happened very quickly within a short span of time. And I have seen, this is just like a small snippet of some of the miracles that have happened in my life recently. And I encourage you to keep track because when you're feeling like things aren't working out, they are still working in your best favor. And I know that sometimes that's really hard to believe and understand when you have your heart set on something. So remember the story that I shared at the very beginning with my friend who wanted her meal from that one restaurant. She had her heart and her mind was just like, I need that food. So she was disappointed. She was upset, understandably, when she had to detour. And yet that detour potentially could have saved her life, could have saved her car, her her physical body from a lot of other issues that may have arisen if she had been involved in that car crash. And so oftentimes when we think this is not working out in my best favor, behind the scenes, it's working out exactly as it needs to, because it's preparing you for something maybe even bigger, even better. The thing that you actually are meant to do, to be on the path instead of on your little divergent, detour, being right on the path that you're meant to be on in order to create the biggest impact for the people who are waiting for you. So thank you so much for joining me. I know that this was a bit long and a bit of a departure from what I normally share. If this was helpful though, I would love to be able to hear from you and let me know if you want more like this, or if you want, Susan, this is too much. Go back to the, we just want strategy and tactics and just a little bit of this. Totally okay with feedback either way. So if you're in Sales Mastery Society, stay tuned, because I'll be giving you even more stuff on exactly what has transpired. And of course, if you have any questions on how I knew what happened, because this is just high level overview. It's not even all the nitty gritty details of exactly what happened, the behind the scenes and the actions and the thoughts and for me, hearing the voice of God. So what he actually said to me to help me to have that faith and that courage. I'm happy to share to my community over in Sales Mastery Society. So if you want more information like this, feel free to head over to my free Facebook community, Successful Sales Strategies. And if you are interested in joining us in Sales Mastery Society, where I do a lot of this in more detail, come and join us at salesmasterysociety.com. Erica says the life annoyance protected. Yes, it did. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's all around us. It's just, and Erica had said, it's a matter of how we're reframing it. So if you're struggling with that, go back and watch my live stream with Erica, because it was amazing. And it gave you some really good tactical strategies, tools, things that you can use today in order to help you. And if you need more help, you're going to want to follow Erica over on her page, because she talks about this, I think, every day. Right, Erica? So thank you so much. And we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.